on that. Everyone is bound by that decision and expects that the CCT should also fall under that line. But what's this about? You stated earlier that the judiciary or the bar is known for excellence, but yet we are saying the NBA president also standing trial for corruption, and now we are having our own CJN also having to answer to these crimes.
Interpretations. How grave is this, do you think, for the judiciary?
Well, it's a trial that has consequences for the judiciary. I'm reminded here of the statement by Juvenal in ancient Rome: quis custodet ipso custodies, who will guard the guards themselves. Now the courts or the judiciary, the judges, are the sentinels of the liberties and rights of ordinary citizens, but that does not imply that they are above the law. One of the most respected judges in England, Lord Denning, in the celebrated case of Gurrier and Union of Postal Workers, opined, citing Thomas Fuller, "Be you ever so high, yet the law is above you." So judges are not immune, but then the prosecutor must ensure strict compliance with due process.
And that's where I'm going, because I'm not going to quote section 292 because it's out there and it's been quoted severally in the last couple of days. But people are screaming due process, especially lawyers. In your opinion, did the CCB err by not bringing him before the NJC first and you're doing it this manner?
Well, I think the prosecution ought to have followed the extant law in the country, that when an allegation involves a sitting judicial officer, then the matter should be remitted to the National Judicial Council. And if the NJC finds prima facie evidence of malfeasance or misconduct, then of course such a judge should be removed from the judiciary, so that you don't do an overkill, in my view. Since that was not done, it's a problem, but the problem that is not without solution.
The intention of the law.
The thing about it is that there are different schools of thought. And that's why it's before the CCT now, so the lawyers are there.
Yeah, the courts will decide it. But my concern, Chamberlain, is that Nigerian elites should have a consensus about the sanctity of institutions, and we should all protect our institutions, even when they seem to be against us.
But do you think it's time for public officials, including maybe from the president down, to all make their forms, their CCT, code of conduct forms public, because their emails, letters are circulating that people have sought to get access to the president and the vice president's forms, and they gave a litany of excuses to CCT why that cannot be made public?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the assets of public officers should be published. Everyone should publish his assets declaration. And the president has published this, as far as I know, and the vice president, when they took office.
Their code of conduct forms?
Yeah, they have. They're published. They have declared, not only declared the assets.
I thought they declared to the CCT, not public consumption?
They have made it public. My own code of conduct forms are already, because there's a litigation, it's already in the public domain.
Do you think that
so I think it should be a requirement of the law, not optional. Right now it is optional. Yeah. But I think it should be a legal requirement that upon assuming office, everything should be published.
But some people fear that politicians will feel being victimized, or should I say exposed to the public, if they have to go through the process of filling from CCP1, for instance, and making it public. Is that the case?
Yeah, that is the logic behind the current position of the law, that you file it with the CCP, but it's optional for you to publish it, okay? Because those that wrote that part of the constitution felt that it will unduly expose people. But my argument is, if you put yourself out to lead people, you should be ready for the maximum scrutiny. So I don't think it's an issue. I think we have reached in the 21st century a point where everything should be laid bare. Okay. We should publish everything, let everyone know everything, and challenge everything. You want to lead people, they should know what you have. When you came into part of the constitution felt that when you came into office, they should also know what you have when you leave office. I have no issues with that at all. But right now, that is not the position of the law. The position of the law is that you file with CCB. Of course, you can use the Freedom of Information Act to demand for it and give credible reasons. Okay, but it's not a requirement that you publish it. But many public officers have freely on their own published their assets declaration.
I've read the charges. Some of them relate to asset declaration that covered the period 2005. And 2005 to now is how many years? And then the CJN, first of all, it took several months before he was confirmed. During that period, we assumed that the federal government was combing over his records to see if there's anything that would disqualify him. Eventually, he was confirmed. Now, all of these facts would have been known to the government. So why now, a few weeks to general elections? And as you can see, the various political parties have already jumped into the fray and taken sides. Some for, some against. The ruling party is saying, yes, go ahead, it's a fight against corruption. And you can see the reaction from the other side. That is why this timing is, it just doesn't make sense.
All right, Mr. Zuku, the intent of the petitioners here, there seems to be a big question mark about that. Do you also share that view?
Yeah, I think I do. I share the concerns that everybody is I share everybody's concerns that it relates to this particular issue. But I still hold the view that, like the learned advocate is saying about timing.
Do you feel though, that the actions of the government on Onnoghεν, do you feel it has the capacity to fuel instability in the country?
Why?
Because the South governors have all come out to say that this is a slant to the judiciary, and also say that this action completely is tantamount to putting the political process in harm's way.
That's an unfortunate statement by the South governor. It's just a single person who is allegedly said to have infringed the law of the land. So why would that cause tension in the police or in the country? I don't share that view. I don't think it's right.
This occasion, what is going on in this country today, as the CCT, is a disgrace to this country. It has dented our image abroad, that the Chief Justice of Nigeria the third arm of the government of Nigeria, is being dragged to an inferior court. CCT is an inferior court. It's not in the list of courts in Nigeria. What do they want? They wanted him to come and be docked before the very people he swore in a few days ago. And at the end, they would now say, case adjourned. You provide the authority to take you on bail, or you go home on self-recognition. That's all what they wanted. To disgrace a man that he has gone to the dock, facing trial before people who should be working under him. So it's a disgrace. Because of this matter, I've studied the whole procedure of bringing somebody to CCT. If let's say it's not even the Chief Justice of Nigeria, if a petition is written to the bureau, it will be sent to the chairman. The chairman had about 5 commissioners under him, with him. He will then refer that petition to the commissioner in charge of investigation or something like that. That commissioner will now take it to the director, a civil servant, who will then look into the whole thing and remit it to the desk officer. The desk officer will then comment on it and the thing returned to the chairman, and this takes days. During this period, the law provides that the person you have reported, who is the affected person, must be invited by the bureau to sit with them. These are your declarations. Why is it not there? Why is this there? He will explain. If the man admits that yes, I made an error, or to say, go and rectify it. This was the basis held by the same CCT tribunal in freeing the Chief Tinubu of Lagos, who was charged to CCT at that time. He was not invited. He was not interviewed. I think you follow what I mean. It is only when they have said after the man has been invited that they believe that there is still a case. The matter will go to the legal advisor in that bureau, who will then draft the thing before it goes to the CCT. This will take about 21 days.
The first thing is that perhaps unlike any other government, President Muhammadu Buhari, his whole approach is that institutions should just do their work. I can tell you for a fact that he did not even know about this until Saturday evening. He did not even know that there was going to be any kind of arraignment. Until
he is found guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction, he will not resign because the opposition will resist that. Know you all men, and let the leaves of the opposition be read clearly, and let the ears of President Muhammad Buhari open and hear this. Amechi, Malami, El-Rufai, Boss Mustafa, and other members of the cabal that are sponsoring this inglorious offensive against the judiciary in a bid to turn it into an appendage of the APC will fail. We will resist this attempt. This is the final bridge, and it must not fall. We cannot retreat beyond this point, and Justice Walter Onegem will not be illegally removed from office. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid they succeed. They want to force him out of office and appoint a pro-APC judge who will do their bidding and set up appeal panels to resolve the Rivers and Zamfara APC crisis in favor of the APC and other states where they fear they will lose the election, including Akwa Ibom, Delta State, Lagos, Benue, Imo, Kwara, Plateau, Kaduna, Abia, and Sokoto, and also constitute a pro-Buhari post-presidential election tribunal. The CJN may not speak out because of the demands of his office, but we will not, as opposition and Nigerians, the bearers of the conscience and consciousness of our people, keep quiet and allow these fellows to desecrate the Nigerian judiciary. The only way the CJN can leave office is by Section 292 of the Constitution, or by a proper conviction, and not by stepping aside from the NJC. We are shouting it from the rooftops. Let them put the CJN in handcuffs if they like. Let the woman, in dancing to the tune of his APC blackmailers, issue that arrest warrant. Let the IG dance to the tune of the litmus test of arresting the CJN. Let the APC funded petition be brought to the NGC. Justice Onoghen will not be forced out of office. Nigerians will resist that. President Buhari, it is time to apply your brakes. Do not allow your political children who learn their politics from the manual of Mobutu Sese Seko, Idi Amin and Nkurunziza lead you to burn down and destroy the institutions of democracy and the judiciary. It is on that note that we call on Justice Tanko Mohammed to stay away from these people and refuse that poison chalice that will destroy.
You first go before the NGSC. This has not happened. So we note that the attempt to drag the CJN to the CCT is a grave and dangerous escalation of the assault on institutions of states, including the National Assembly and now the judiciary. We believe that the President of the Federal Republic, President Muhammadu Buhari, has a constitutional responsibility and indeed a very huge moral obligation and legal obligation also to defend our democracy. Therefore, we consider this step that this regrettable development at the Supreme Court at this critical time, which people can even call injury time, when preparations for general elections are even wobbly. There are concerns about the preparedness and the partiality of INEC, and concerns about the preparedness and the partiality and readiness of the security agencies. All of us are concerned, and this is when this kind of action, unprecedented action, is being unleashed, and that this action is capable of causing avoidable anxiety, tension, and a possible breakdown of law and order in this country.
Mio Shibajo arrives, and Justice Onoghen steps forward for his swearing-in as the 17th Chief Justice of Nigeria.
I, Ward of Samuel Onoghen, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
Drama that took place within the court, that is sufficient enough to let us understand that there's a finger from somewhere attempting to mess up not just with the CJN but with the judicial system and of course the expected or the imminent election that is coming. We want to call on all Nigerians to rise up to salvage this country. Yes. We must all join hands together, we must all join voices together to supply voice and vision for the genuine emancipation of this country from the penumbra of socio-political darkness, from the spineless entities who have hijacked the system to mess up with the country. I am grateful for this organization who has taken up the cause to ensure that this is done. And let me tell you, please, this is just a signal to the Nigerian executive government. We are taking further steps from today to ensure that we shut down the system, to let them understand that the Nigerian lawyers are determined to change the system, to sanitize the system. We shall not give in for oppression. We shall not give in for intimidation. We shall stand for the truth. The process for the president.